Chapter 18. Near-death experience. Psionic skates worked well for grinding along the skirting. Jane had said to Trinity that the skate park was a lot of fun. Though Trinity wondered about the executioner monster wrapped in splint armor with an electrical power core where its heart should be. The executioner was blind with leather straps bolted over its eyes. Trinity had distance from it now. Not exhausting her psionic powers, she absorbed mana from the skirting through her toes and telekinetically deflected every attack by the monster with its ridiculous battle axe. Every door she hid behind or every direction she took, the executioner continued to trail behind, breaking down every door, using its shoulder to barge through. Trinity threw a small vial of black and white sand behind herself as she spoke in tongues. The sand quickly became a 20-foot wide puddle of oil. Trinity grabbed onto the platform edge above, pulling herself onto the next floor. The executioner sniffed around, only sensing the oil, unable to detect Trinity's scent. Trinity observed the executioner standing in the puddle of oil. "I smell evil in you." Trinity waited until the executioner was out of sight. Opening an air vent and crawling through it, she began healing her minor cuts with divine magic. In a short moment her wounds were gone without leaving a scar. "That monster has the Discry staff embedded in its spine. Rapscallion Devil told me that before we got separated." Casting additional synergist spells, Trinity did not realize the executioner could detect every spell she cast. As the monster barged through the steel and concrete wall, Trinity dove backward, avoiding being cleaved in half by a battle axe. Trinity focused her psionic powers, creating a psionic barrier 6 inches thick. "That will keep you at bay. I sense that you used to be human. I want to help you," Trinity offered lovingly. The executioner hit her barrier twice with minor penetration. Stepping back from the wall, holding its weapon behind itself, the executioner shouted a mighty battle cry, its veins heavily pumping blood. Then with one mighty swing, it cleaved a horizontal tear, severing Trinity's barrier. "My barrier is being absorbed into the creature's power core. I feel my synergist spells dispel and my mana drain when it gets closer to me. Running away is all I can do. I should send the executioner up against the cyborg, if he is able to mana drain. I see a long, steep path descending to a level below the ground floor. It's awfully dark without the skirting shining through. If I only had time to recharge my psionic powers." Rushing down a new corridor, Trinity noticed a very large double door wedged open by a steel crate. Sidestepping through 3-foot-thick walls, Trinity wondered, are my eyes deceiving me, or is this straight out of a science fiction movie? 10 by 10 rows of large glass tanks, each containing partial cyangans sedated and hooked up with artificial cybernetic organs, were lined up in the room. "I can barely look at this. It's too scary." Images were flashing through Trinity's mind as she wondered which one was trying to communicate with her. Telepathic voices spoke to Trinity. "Think, Princess Trinity. Think back to when you were a child, after your parents' death. You must be strong and face your past." Trinity cried a single tear. "I could never face court if everyone knew I killed my parents. I would be exiled for sure." Many voices spoke telepathically, overwhelming Trinity's mind. One of them said, "Trinity, you must face your past, learn from your past, and share your past. If you're exiled, you won't be the first. Others live a much harder life than you could imagine. For example, we will never be born, only genetically engineered. It could have been worse, Princess." "How? How could it be much worse than what I did to my family?" Trinity wiped her tears away, forcing herself to listen. "We are batteries sending our psionic power to the Topaz Mana Tower. Once ripened, our brain fluid is drained, giving only one person a slim chance of inheriting our psionic powers. Only 20 of us have developed neutrophil cells that will be harvested, enabling shapeshifting in conjunction with sorcery." Trinity thought, "I am seeing way too much horror in my thoughts. Who could be so evil? Why cyangans? Don't kill the executioner. It is Before Trinity heard a response, the executioner threw its battle-axe across the room. Trinity bent over backward into a bridge position as the battle-axe bypassed her, splintering several tanks. Mucky stasis fluid poured out as Trinity hid between two rows of tanks. The executioner retrieved its battle-axe then ran, swinging the weapon wildly from side to side, smashing two rows of tanks. I smell your evil. You're smellier than the others. Why? You think I can't stand your smelly odor? Mucky fluid flowed, covering the floor. Backed up to a wall, Trinity thought, I must fight back. She focused, tapping into her mystic power, empowering a tougher barrier. Once she'd pushed her mystic barrier toward the executioner, the creature placed both hands against the wall, pushing it with his mighty strength. Either your stinky wall crushes you, or I'll absorb your stinky wall and convert into divine mana, which is pure good. Hawken. Trinity tapped into her mystic powers, enhancing her synergist spells, which reached new heights. Her skin began to glow in shades of purple as her physical appearance showed 20 extra pounds of lean muscle. Pushing back 10 feet and burning up her mana rapidly, Trinity screamed, pushing harder to unbalance the executioner, which now was stand on one leg. Remember what Barrister Arlo Sergio said after I signed the blood covenant. I remember what he said after he did psionic fission, dividing himself into 4 separate beings, allowing him to be in 4 places at once. Enhancing your spells to open your mind and body to your psion side will allow you to ascend. Arlo clenched his fists, ascending as his aura and skin glowed blue. This is an ascendant psion or superption. Now I will show you a super mystic. Arlo empowered his ascension as his skin glowed purple. He forced his eyes shut and entered a deep mediation. His biceps, which moments ago were 17 inches, now were 22 inches. Muscles tore his black jacket and stretched his black pants as entire body widened, looking like Troy Marino. Princess, I am now stronger than any mystic. My mana control is more sustained than Jane Turner's. After your mission, your next goal is to surpass me and take your rightful place as queen. Trinity widened her barrier with more concentrated energy centered in her body. She screamed Ultra Beam at the top of her lungs, shattering all the glass tanks. Forcing a stronger Ultra Beam, she lifted the executioner off the ground, pressing it against the wall behind. Trinity instantly felt a tremendous mana burn as she fell forward and lay face down in 6 inches of mucky fluid. Waking up in complete darkness, Trinity squinted her eyes, unable to see anything. Where am I now? Walking around, she reached out to touch anything nearby. Nothing this way. I'd better go back to my bed. Where on Albac is my bed? Oh, good one, Trinity, now you can't find your own bed, silly duffer. A small orange-haired girl is walking toward me. Wait a second. That is me when I was 8 years old. Younger Trinity scanned a card to open a large door. Once the door opened, the darkness slowly shifted, revealing Dr. Alexander Saldek wearing a white plastic apron covered in a blue substance. Dr. Axel Chase is engineering the frame for the cyborg's armor. Dr. Chase must be the villain. Why else would he pass up the opportunity to come here? Trinity quickly realized from looking at herself that she was not a solid mass on this plane of existence. My dear, this is a restricted area, not a playground. Leave immediately. The adults are busy. Younger Trinity stomped her foot and held an arm forward, announcing, I am Princess Trinity, and you are just my doctor who gives me my daily medicine. Sir Leviticus Smith walked behind Trinity, grabbing her shoulder. Princess, Arlo is looking for you. Suddenly a loud thud came from something hitting the floor. It was an autopsy table with a cyangan spasming atop it. More surroundings became visible as Leviticus repetitively tapped his fingers against Trinity's shoulder. What have you done to our visitors? Leviticus cried in despair. Dr. Alexander Saldek used his telekinesis to shut the door, closing the hatch to lock everyone inside. Pressing 2 fingers against his forehead, he extended his fingers toward Leviticus. Leviticus, you're hurting me, younger Trinity shrieked. You were told to get out, child. Now it's time for you to listen to your boss. Leviticus snarled. The irises of Dr. Axel Chase's eyes turned from a blue ring back to hazel. Where am I? Trinity asked. The Cyangan flopping on the floor telepathically shouted out, Saldek is sadist. Kill him now. Dr. Chase slid cyborg gauntlets over both his hands. Game over. Suddenly Dr. Chase realized that neither gauntlet had ammunition attached. Cameron Banks blindsided Dr. Axel Chase with a steel bar, knocking him unconscious. Trinity screamed, trying to interact with her past self. Asterisk. Younger Trinity was sitting opposite Dr. Alexander Saldek at a steel table in a small room. Time to talk about you breaking our rules, princess. Where am I now? I cannot remember any of this. Trinity cried desperately, trying to interact with her surroundings. Is that a two-way mirror? Touching the mirror, Trinity's left hand slipped straight through. My hand is right in front of me, yet I cannot feel it. Stepping through the mirror, she found only more darkness and could hear no sounds. Maybe this is my hell that my father warned me about. I must try to communicate with my younger self, or my younger self needs to warn me. Let's start nice and easy. Why did you kill your mother? Dr. Saldek asked brusquely. Younger Trinity cried heavily over the table. I don't know why. Please stop. I will become a full mystic and grant wishes like genies do. I am sure there is a resurrection spell somewhere that does not require a sacrifice, younger Trinity pleaded. You murdered your mother and father, the rightful king and queen. Queen Vedic Jones is your new mommy, and Arlo Sergio is your new daddy. Did you kill them because they renounced Hawken and Trevor's mystic laws and because they rejected welcoming psionics, instead choosing a magicless life, forcing you to move to Earth? Blue holograms on the table revealed a past event that took place at a waterfall. Young Trinity stood in a cave, parting the waterfall with her psionic powers. Look, Mother, I can cut water in half or put out the campfire. She maneuvered a small flow of water, extinguishing flames. I told you not to do that anymore, you wicked child. What if your father were to see this? From inside the cave, Trinity's father broke a stalactite. He was smacking it into his hand while approaching young Trinity. I must face my past. I must be stronger. I must be more confident than Jane. I told you that our family needs to give up on magic and forget your grandfathers. Young Trinity's father whacked her across her wrist then, taking a big swing with the stalactite, delivered one big, unforgiving blow to her abdomen. Young Trinity uncontrollably urinated on herself as she fell onto her hands and knees, crying because of the immense pain and struggle to breathe. You smell of pure evil. Wetting yourself won't change your sin. Clean yourself up, and then go to bed without your dinner. Oh, and one more thing, if you ever talk of your grandfathers again, I'll smack you harder, younger Trinity's father promised darkly. Crying harder, Trinity said, Stop this. I didn't mean it. I wish they were still alive. I wish. I will find a genie even if I must search all of Albac or beg Cyrus to take me around the entire universe. I'll even merge permanently with a genie. Just don't send me to hell. Dr. Saldek pounded younger Trinity with more questions. I guess Daddy had it coming? How did you feel that he hit you so hard that your bladder let loose? Do you think your mother did not deserve to die? Observing every teardrop, he was getting some sick satisfaction from her pain. Wait until your father gets home. Want a belting? Sure, Dad, I really want a belting. Dr. Alexander Saldek shook his hands vigorously, implying sarcasm. You never even got to say goodbye to your grandfathers. They both ventured out in search of the princess for exactly 300 days and nights. Grandfather Hawken died by mana exhaustion, dehydration, and starvation. Your uncle Cameron, who exceeded them both in terms of power, had no right to be next in line to the throne simply because he failed to test psionic positive. Dr. Saldek remained calm, enjoying every sick minute. The executioner is here. Trinity gasped. My name is Hawken. The aliens gave me a visual experience, even though I have no eyes. I have been placed into your near-death experience, my long-lost granddaughter. Trinity helplessly tried to inflict pain on Dr. Saldek, punching without any success. I am not a ghost. I am not dead. I refuse to die. Younger Trinity cried, adding more tears to the puddle on the table. Dr. Saldek spoke into the two-way mirror. I will give her a triple dose of antidepressants. Earthlings use these to forget the pain inflicted by either themselves or others. As I continue to study psychology, going ever deeper, I promise that all forthcoming sessions will be less laborious and more to my delight. A deep voice spoke through a speaker. That is all well and good, but what about Marcus Johnson and his religious views creating a covenant to summon beasts? Chuckling, Saldek replied, give me time to track down everyone connected to Marcus. For now, Sir Leviticus knows more about religion than anyone else. I will interview his autistic mind shortly. I know conclusively from my study of psychology that Marcus will soon lose his shit. Then we will have him fully committed to Gwenvale Asylum, exactly where we need him, where he will be safe from self-harm. Just remember you must evacuate Nankin City and destroy those 6 locations closer to Judgment Day. We only want those loyal to our cause to be there, ready for Leviathan. Younger Trinity glared, telepathically reading Dr. Alexander Saldek's mind. She was boiling with anger as she read his thoughts. Grandpa Hawken, I remember this now. Images of the beast of land, water, and sky. The Golden Sun Country Club was only one of 6 locations. There are 5 more locations for the cyborg to destroy. Marcus will be safe, then I will be able to properly read his mind and seek validation to questions only I know how to ask. Hope is now 7 years old, so with each allegation made, it takes longer to reach family court. Inscribed in many of Marcus's notes is that Hope is the chosen one destined to fight Leviathan, for his 16th birthday. The deep voice shrieked through the speaker, behind you. Younger Trinity stood on the table, staring angrily at Dr. Saldek. Back into your seat, he said to her. You still have not told me about why you killed your beloved mother. You want a beast? I will kill you like a ravaging beast. Younger Trinity's skin turned blue as she flew above, using the power of her emotions to ascend. How is this possible, princess? You are the youngest to ascend into a superption. Dr. Alexander Saldek beamed, excited. Tears levitated, becoming tiny electric droplets. Dr. Saldek ducked as the electric droplets turned into daggers, gashing through the two-way mirror. Trinity pointed. I can see more. I remember this moment. I remember how to ascend, Grandfather Hawken. Behind the mirror are Trevor and Cameron Banks. That is my father's father, Trevor. Dad was trying to protect me from Trevor and my uncle Cameron Banks. My name was Trinity Penelope Banks. Shock treatment causes minor memory loss, so the excessive treatment made me forget my family name. I must take advantage of my psionic powers. Suddenly Trinity and Hawken saw many visions flashing of various family moments. They embraced the many personal emotions connected to her suddenly revealed past. Trinity's father said to Dr. Alexander Saldek, Hawken has effortlessly killed an entire group of troll witch doctors and necromancers. First, he drains their black magic, then he strikes them down with his battle axe. What is to become of our family? This is your secret weapon for war created by the intellectual visionary dreams of Marcus Johnson. I permanently fused the Discry staff into his spine and bent it toward his sternum, where it sits in place of his new cybernetic core. The possessed mind of Dr. Axel Chase engineered a power core most suitable. In conjunction with this, it is the perfect weapon to drain the power of the Phoenix. I call it Project Hawken 101, the original cleric. Dr. Alexander Saldek morphed back into Scientist. What have you done? Trinity's father reached for Scientist but was unable to penetrate his psionic barrier. You see, a mastermind has a unique way of controlling everyone he meets. I am an excellent covert narcissist. All humans have emotional bonds that can be exploited, especially you through your daughter. Neurological shock therapy will force Trinity to fuse the psion nodes in her brain with the divine and sorcery nodes, creating a whole new class. Trinity has the potential to rule the universe as an equal with me. After all, she is the youngest superption and probably soon a super mystic just like Arlo, Scientist explained, absent of expression. With more images of her suppressed childhood flashing, Trinity awoke from her near-death experience to see Grandfather Hawken performing CPR. Trinity tilted her head to one side, spewing mucky fluid that had seeped into her mouth. I can sense evil magic. I can sense divine magic. You have something else, and it's fused with divine properties. Trinity rolled onto her hands and knees, spewing more mucky fluid. After a few coughs, she demanded, Hawken, you are my grandfather, my mother's father, and now I need you to be my henchman. I see why you were too confused to attack, but not all spellcasters are evil. The entire Turner family are not evil. Remember Grandpa Hawken, you were once the best as the original cleric leading a nation. Trinity formed blue holograms of Hawken and Trevor standing at the judge's seat inside the Amethyst University courtroom. Today we are both stepping down to find our princess. We are appointing a queen who has exceeded in all three mystic arts. We welcome to the throne, with her many years of life experience, Queen Vedic Jones. I forgot my own humanity. That is no longer who I am. After I was psionically flayed by Saldek, I became a laboratory experiment. Hawken sighed. I have no tear ducts, otherwise I would cry to think that I was set up to kill my own granddaughter. How come only now I can remember all of this? Hawken asked desperately. Trinity looked around the room, noticing that all the partial Cyangans were dead, detached from all life support. Prick your finger and give some of your blood to my bloodstone. Hawken obeyed Trinity's request, then Trinity chanted, finishing a bloodstone covenant between granddaughter and grandfather. Together we have fulfilled this covenant, so now I can summon you to fight by my side instead of against me and my allies. Together we also have created a covenant of a newly formed friendship as equals, Trinity announced. Hugging Hawken, she said, I love you, Grandfather Hawken. I will help you to be human again. The irises in Trinity's eyes were bright purple as one thing went through her mind. Transform into Super Trinity and kill Scientist, or Dr. Alexander Saldek, or whoever he is. This mission is not only to unmask the cyborg, who is clearly Nigel, Trevor, or Cameron, it's to unmask everyone who lives a double life. To the 100 Cyangans helping to reunite us, this ascension is dedicated to you all. As the princess, I promise your deaths will not be in vain.